What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Larkin said, "Good morning." Yeah, kids. My kids are not back at school yet. Next Wednesday, I think they go back. But a lot of the other kids are back to school already. So trading dynamic is a little different, a little bit different now. So we'll see what happens. But you at least get a couple hours where you're like, okay, now I can finally trade the market. We should start to see volume coming back. I don't know necessarily about this week, but September is usually a little bit better volume, and maybe we see less chaotic moves in the market. We'll see. But we got Albert in the house. Good morning to you, Anna. Good morning, Bill, Cheryl, Greg, Jay, Jeff, JT, Lauren. We got Lucian. Good morning. We got Marius, Martina, Micus. Good morning, Peter, Rick, Shane, Tim. All my people out in YouTube land, Real Virtual Demand, Larkin, Santilla. Good morning. All my lurkers in the background. That's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. Jeff says it'll be there on Wednesday, at least after hours. Yeah. Uh-huh. And besides Nvidia, there is a lot of other earnings still this week, specifically closer to like Wednesday, Thursday time frame. So we shall see. Friday going into a 3-day weekend. Keep in mind, market I believe is closed on Monday. So probably Friday, I would assume maybe some volume in the morning, and then I think it'd die off pretty quickly on Friday. So a little bit of a interesting week, and then obviously going into a 4-day week next week. But so we still have, I think, a little bit of time. Other than that, we have a little, which is interesting, but we got a little disparity from Qs and SPY today. So SPY we have gapping up, and then we got the Qs with a little bit of a gap down. So a little bit of a disassociation from one another. Usually we have them both gapping same direction. So today, not so much, which is interesting. Especially, and I think we have like CRM earnings this week. I think we got Salesforce this week. I think we got a couple of the cybersecurity plays coming out this week as well. So it's not just Nvidia. There's still a lot of other companies out there, but we'll see. Otherwise, interesting gap on the SPY. We are still above Thursday's VPOC, so that's 561.10 at the moment, at least. We're still inside day, but the very high end range. And then if we take Friday's day, even though now this would be some kind of retest gap, that retest is really inside this big red candle. So, which that entire day was a big retest, just big bearish engulfing candle though. So very interesting spot, and we're at the very high end of that one too. It would be very interesting to see where this thing opens. I've got my next resistance somewhere around 563.59. We have not broken out of that yet. Now we got the Qs pulling back a little bit, so that's not going to help push the SPY at all. In fact, it'd probably be, if the Qs go up, it's probably actually going to be SPY that's going to be pushing the Qs. I don't know. But I think we did hear a lot from Jerome Powell on Friday. I thought he was going to take questions. He didn't take any questions. Yeah, we got Crowd, we got Lulu coming out too. Lulu's going to be an interesting one. I've got my positions in Lulu already. I would like to buy more, but I invest on a schedule. I've already put this month's deposit into Lulu. So I gotta wait till after. So I'm kind of hoping they did what they did last time on Lulu, where the earnings were good. The big part of there's gonna be two parts of that Lulu. So Lulu is gonna be international sales. I want to see that maintain the growth, grow a little bit, because they did look good internationally. US was a little slow, so I do want to see the US sales go up a little bit. But yeah, so we have a nice little gap here though. At least we're right into that resistance. We're gonna need to make it past that. The one thing again from Jerome Powell is he was kind of saying, yeah, pretty much we're definitely having those interest rates. Nothing really changed from the revision of the jobless numbers. So we'll see what happens. But I think this little separation from SPY and Qs is the interest rate play. So a lot of these names, a lot of these things with divvies. The one thing that will change, you'll see, is when we have the high interest in treasuries, you'll have anything with the dividends struggling a little bit. If we do start to get some kind of pullback within dividend stocks, I mean, within the treasuries and the rates start coming down, that makes the dividend plays a little bit more appealing. Where you're like, okay, I could lock in some of these divvy plays now and still get 5, 6, maybe 3, 4% on your money from those companies, plus the potential growth of those companies as well. So it's a little bit different in terms of uh, how the market wants to kind of position maybe some of the safer money. But we'll see what happens. But we got SPY, a little bit of a gap. I'd like to see where this one opens. If it could open a little bit higher, I'm still not really that comfortable getting in bullish. But if we could get anywhere above, let's say 563.60, we could potentially be off to the races today too on the SPY. We'll see. Qs, like we said, gapping down a little bit. Scintilla says buy SPY on a pullback. Yeah, that's a good point too. What if it pulls back? What if it pulls back? The candle that I want to watch is Friday's candle. I think if even the low of that one kind of came into this range here. So I think you do have buy the dip mentality and sentiment all the way down to 558.33. I don't really want to see it get down there because I think it's a little bit easier to get taken out. But if we start taking out and if we close today below Friday's candle, even if we're still in that red candle, I think that's still a little bit of a not so much buy the dip mentality anymore. For right now, it is. If SPY wants to pull back to like 561.10, that would be also a good spot to look to buy the dip. Anything past that, still probably buy the dip mentality, but it just weakens it a little bit. Qs, SEDG with a nice gap and a 33% short float. We'll have to take a look at that one next. Yeah, if you guys got any other tickers you want to take a look at, let me know. We got Qs. Again, a little bit of a gap down. Mm, it's got resistance, I think, right around this 480.49. We messed with that one before. So we can break through that. We've also messed around with that higher one, which would take us to 481.65. That one's doable to be taken out. Support from Friday now is going to come in at 478.69. So I want to see that hold. Otherwise, I think we get a little chop on the Qs. I'm not seeing anything where I'm like, okay, this thing is definitely breaking. I think we still have a little bit more bullish edge. Qs probably will pull back to this 478.95 level though. If we have not done so already, and we probably did pre-market. Futures last night, futures, as soon as the market opened, we were gapping down pretty hard. So the fact that the entire market kind of came back this much is a little nuts, a little crazy. Let's take a look at SEDG, but I think we see a little more chop in Qs and probably some of the individual names in the SPY probably a little bit more bullish, or I don't think they dip as much. SEDG, yeah, that's a good looking gap. You got some resistance somewhere around 32.41. The next one up, you got 32.80. The one after that is 34.58. It is a retest gap, but that 33% short float trapping a lot of bears, even in this candle. Let's get this one higher on the list. Let's get it much higher on the list. Uh, we could look for maybe a little pullback at open, some kind of like high wave candle. I think I would be okay just taking a I think I would be okay just taking a pre-market breakout too, though. 33% is crazy. And you got you got some resistance on the way up, but you can see a target of like 45.83 if it wants to get going. Definitely gonna watch that one, Solar Edge. Some of the energy stocks, even ALB, starting to pick up again. We off the lows. I think the lows came in at $72. So that was a good $20 move. We're starting to hit a little resistance on ALB here. But next stop I think would take us to about 93.76. And if we could start breaking probably that opening price, but confirmation would be if we could get past pretty much $100. That might start us up for a good move. But again, this is all interest sensitive, right? Anything energy, they have a lot of debt, they have a lot of bills to pay, and a lot of times, even when the solar companies are trying to sell their solar panels, they do usually finance those panels to help people buy them. So if interest rates are too high, their whole deal is like, yeah, you could get pretty much essentially free solar panels, and then you get paycheck back. You can get free energy forever, and it sounds appealing, but it's not really free solar panels they're giving you, which is kind of baked into the monthly cost, which is kind of comes down to that interest rate. So lower interest rates will help a lot of those companies out, anything energy related. Um, Amazon, I think it came out that Ray Dalio was buying, I think he upped his position in this one by like 125%. So if you're a fan of Ray Dalio, uh, you would be loving Amazon. I don't really see anything here yet. You're at a little bit of support, maybe slightly under. Let's see. Yeah, we're still slightly under. I think there's a gap that actually might fill. This is going to be a very important candle for Amazon. You do have this high wave candle for right now, at least. I think it looks a little bit weaker. We're just under all the VPOCs. So we're probably going to start using 176.30 as some kind of resistance, I would think. If we could get above it, the next resistance up would be Fridays, which would be 176.75. But at least I think it would be a little bit stronger if we could get into that resistance, maybe the chance to break through. This is technically all just one, two, three, four, five green breakout candles, one big retest, and a little indecision. So kind of a key level here. But for right now, it opened. It does look a little bit to the weaker side. SLV, silver. That looks like a pretty good gap too. Let's get that on the list. Again, technically still a retest gap. That weekly candle probably looks the weekly cap no, doesn't look as hammerish. Kind of just look like a bull candle. Come on, go higher on my list. There we go. Tesla's coming down a little bit pre-market. CMG. Yeah, targets on this one. So I for this one, I probably have to wait for some kind of pullback. Next little resistance on this one is 27.63. I think I want some kind of pullback into this 27, 26. Otherwise, we don't have that much range, but it does look interesting. We did close this gap officially. We now open above the VPOC of this one. So I do think targets probably take us 27.63, 64. Possibly we could break. If we do break that, you're looking for like 28.09. So I probably need a little pullback on silver. CMG, but it looks bullish for sure. CMG. I don't know if I like this one or if I love this one. I'm not sure which category. I know I don't hate this one. We got the gap fill up here. I don't know if we get there today, but I would be looking for like a 56.02 zone. Definitely not at all-time highs. Retail loves Chipotle. You got a nice little two inside candles, realistically, right at the 200. Yesterday or Friday, we closed right at it. I'd probably watch the highs of yesterday's or Friday's candle. That looks like good consolidation. Maybe if we start breaking this, you're gapping above the price. Yeah, I kind of like this one a lot, to be honest. It's not the most amazing gap ever, but that's good consolidation. Next target up. Almost got there. Probably I would be looking for like a 54.39. I think it has a chance to break out of it. That's a good question. I would say both. I would say you have a little bit more edge probably as a swing trade than you do a day trade. Just because we're still inside day for open for day trade. But this on a swing trade, I think I like it a lot. I probably, let's put it this way. I think I like it more as a swing than a day. Just because I don't know if today's the day where we actually break out of this consolidation. Otherwise, you have good volume in here, great hammer. This is the breakout of that hammer. This was the retest of that hammer. Now you're kind of consolidating at the top. On a swing trade, my target isn't going to be 56.02. I would be looking probably for something higher, at least into the probably 58.25 zone. For a day trade, I think a really, really good day would be, hey, we're coming up, we're closing that gap, and we probably hit that 55.81 zone. I'm gonna get this one higher. I like the sideways chop on it. Yep, you got the 10 EMA in there as well. hmm Uh, yeah, we're seeing a lot of energy names come in. I think I saw Oxy before. Yep, there it is. Oxy, and then we got CVX2. Amazing gap. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Again, Friday was a retest. I don't think I really don't want it to come back down. I do have some positions in Oxy, so I don't really want it to come down on a bias level. But if I'm taking myself out of this position, technically the retest spot is 57.18. I don't think I really want that gap to fill. I much rather have this 57.76. I still think we probably get a little pullback. We'll see how this one wants to play out. But I would love this to be our support because you're still this one, yeah. Let's see what this one looks like on a weekly. Probably hammerish. Yep. That's a good candle off the weekly. We bounce off that 200. I'm guessing 58.92 would be some kind of just resistance of the pivot at least. And that probably takes us up to here, 58.89. So I think it's got a little bit more room to go, probably at open. See if we get some kind of sell off, some kind of pullback, maybe some profit taking, but that's a really good looking gap too. Let's see CVX since we're in the oil game right now, since we're all oil tycoons. I think I like this one better than Oxy. It's got more range on it. I still think we want some kind of pullback. Friday was a really good close. That close above that last pivot completely. We did struggle already, but we already hit the 148.15 zone. I would like to see probably a little bit of a pullback on this one, land us into this 148.24. And then I think it has a lot more, it has more room than Oxy, I think. So in terms of range, CVX looks a little bit better. But both of them look really good. Let's get this one up here too. Camel, move higher, quicker. All right, we got CVX up on the list. DG, Dollar General. Mm-hmm. Dollar General, I don't know. You got a small little gap, 30 cents. You have that same kind of consolidation that it's a little bit different than uh that last one we looked at, CMG. But you have the same consolidation on this one. You do have resistance at 124.07. I've got another one which we did mess around with before, 124.38. Otherwise, you're still inside day here, so I don't have too much edge on this trade right out of the gate. I would like to think bullish that is a double bottom, although you made a lower low here. You did start to make a new higher high. Range on this one, if it has an absolutely incredible day, 127.98. But probably looking for like a 126.62, but that's on the basis that this can break out today. So I don't think we have too much edge on DG. Boeing. Yeah, so they said there's I don't know if you guys saw that story, but I didn't even know. There's two astronauts stuck on the space station. They were supposed to go for like an 8 day mission, and now they're saying like uh they're gonna be there till February or something. They're just hanging out in the space station because they said it was the Boeing engine or something that they used on the rocket. It didn't work, so I guess they still use duct tape for space missions too. I don't know. But that can't be good for Boeing, especially if that news keeps on. Like, that's a long time of press saying, like, when are these people coming home? And then every time they tell the story, they're like, it was the Boeing engine. I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, there's a little gap down on this one. You are into a little support. You did have a decent double bottom ish, or at least good kind of bear flag that kind of broke bullish. So maybe looking to buy a dip, but I don't know. I think I'd still stay away from this one. It is a gap and go. You're into a little support here. I think if this thing starts to break 171.87, that would probably fill this mini gap over here, 168.62. And you might have a little bit more room, but otherwise, this entire move back is just a pullback of that last retracement for right now. But yeah, but that news kind of circulated. I don't know. They can't get one positive headline. I don't know who they have to pay, but they're paying the wrong people. SMCI. So a little bit of a gap down. I think the Nvidia play is where we should look first. But SMCI is range bound for right now. Look for support. They have a really, really good support, somewhere around 608.69. So we're still above that. And then their next resistance, at least from Friday, comes into 615.01. You're going to make some kind of moves on this one. Bullish, bearish, I have no idea. I also don't know, like I said before, their earnings weren't great, where AMD actually had really good earnings. So their earnings were not fantastic. You're paying a high multiple for this company still. And then if we come down to like, okay, even if we're looking for sympathy play on Nvidia, if Nvidia comes out, they absolutely crush earnings, they skyrocket. I think AMD will be a little bit more of a sympathy play at this point than a SMCI. I think they'll both have some kind of effect, I'm sure. But I think you'll see a bigger run on AMD just because AMD did actually have good numbers. And then SMCI could be falling back a little bit. So we'll see. For right now, for Nvidia, somehow you're still getting a gap up here. I'm not sure how. You got the Qs gapping down, and then Nvidia is just gapping up. Cheryl says, even if Nvidia crushes earnings, it may not be. Yeah, yeah. So that's the other thing too. Um, but again, I think AMD, even in that situation where Nvidia reports really good numbers and they get some kind of a gap up, maybe, unless those numbers are out of control, will I think we see like a huge, huge gap. And we'll see. We got a couple days to find out. But as long as those numbers are still good, even if Nvidia starts fading off the numbers because it wasn't as crazy as people expected, I think that's still good for AMD, where AMD will still actually get a lift because AMD is not at all-time highs. It's got a lot of room to run. But I think something like that could hurt SMCI a lot. I got Nvidia, but this is a little bit of a retest gap. We're at the kind of resistance, not really just on volume, just on candles alone. Target to the high side, I'm looking for like 131.04. See if this one wants to retest. Because of the price, we're probably looking for a full-on retest, 128.39. So this one might be a little bit of a potential fade. I'd like to see one green candle first, something to fade underneath it. And it's still Nvidia. We still got 2 days. Tim says they tried Uber and Lyft before called Elon. For Boeing? For the NASA thing? Yeah, they don't want Elon. But yeah, they're coming back apparently on the SpaceX. Scintilla says Boeing they could put at 150. Yeah, we're not. I mean, I don't. I don't know if that situation, every time at this point, at least, like if Boeing has more bad news in the closet, I think they should honestly get it out now because the stock seems pretty numb to all news at this point. Like I would say that's the one good thing about Boeing is they could report like I guess providing that a new plane doesn't actually full on crash and people die. We've had a lot of bad news on Boeing and it doesn't seem to move, so it's trying to find a little bit of valuation or support, but end phase also nice little gap up. You are into a little resistance on this one. I think I like the SEDG slightly better. And then Oxy and CVX I think look good too. Interesting level though. I'd want to see some kind of pullback on this one. I think you're slightly at or above resistance. So let's see if this one wants to come down to like 123.56. Otherwise, that would take me to about 127.38 as my first target. My second one is about 130. So there's some room on this one. So a little bit of room. But I'd want to see a little pullback first. Tad. Nothing too crazy. Mara. First solar would be a good one to look at too. No, we did not look at that one. Mara, great close on Friday. Nice little break out of this double top that it was putting in. Uh, it does have some more room. We are above the 200. Again, a little bit of a gap down for now. Nothing crazy. Maybe see if we can get it bought off that 200, which is right at 1833. Next little target, mini target at least, 1915, and then a big target for it would be about 1977 for solar. Yeah, that might sneak in as my new favorite. The SEDG was up there. I like it because of that short float, but this looks pretty fantastic. Again, maybe we get a little high wave candle, something. But this one, great little gap. Plus, you have a lot of room into 248.77. So a lot of room there. All right, let me see if I can get to the broker. That is the opening bell too. So everybody on YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. But unfortunately, for today, I gotta wrap it up for you guys. Otherwise,